Welcome to Nevertheless Podcast with Bidemi Mark-Mordi, a show dedicated to organic leaders and leaderpreneurs. Today, you would learn how to discover your essence and live more powerfully.
Hi, my name is Bidemi Mark-Mordi, and this is the Nevertheless Show, a show for organic leaders and leaderpreneurs. Through this month, we've been in a series that I have tagged Enoughness, the capacity to recognize that who you are is who you are, and who you are is enough. To live a life that lacks the desire, that is devoid of the desire to consistently want more, better, and bigger. To recognize that where you are at the moment is where you should be. And that if there's anything that should grow in you, that God who's ordained your journey will take you there as you make the efforts that you should make and are commensurate to where you are headed. In the last episode, I looked at the power of gratitude in living a life of enoughness. I said to us that gratitude changes many things. It boosts our immunity, that is, it improves our health, it grants us enhanced perspectives, it strengthens our relationships, and it just boosts our capacity to be optimistic. That was what we looked at last week. This week we want to look at something that I started with from episode 1. In episode 1, I shared with us how in 2014, God brought me to the place where He talked to me about contentment, where I was busy complaining about something that wasn't right. And God said to me that unless I mastered contentment, I will not be truly wealthy. I did tell us that scripture came out of 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse number 6. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse number 6. And I told us that even though I followed that teaching that the Lord taught me in that season, and made it about my finances, over time, I'm learning that contentment must be in every area of my life if I want to be someone who lives a life that is enough. Yes? So today I want us to focus on contentment, how to live a life of contentment, how to use contentment to find a pathway in living a life of enoughness. The key is that for every season and for every station of our lives, we must live with an understanding or with a mindset and a posture that is content with our present. To recognize that tomorrow is still a long way away. And whatever will happen and change tomorrow will happen and change. But in the moment, you can be grateful for where you are right now. And you can be thankful and you can embrace what you have right now and enjoy it the way you should enjoy it. I was reading a book, The Psychology of Money. And I found something very profound in talking about enough. And the author said that the compound effect that time gives us is how we build enough. So enoughness is something that happens over time. And it will take being content on a daily basis to arrive there. To recognize that time is a gift. And whatever looks like is not enough today will become enough tomorrow. Can become enough in another 1 month if you give it time. Contentment suggests that I may not have all that I need within this time, but I'm grateful for what I have now, and I'll keep working with what I have until I get to what it is that I desire. That's what contentment is about. So we must all find our path to being content with our present. Because when we get caught up in the pursuit of future goals and the regrets of the past, what happens is we miss out on the beauty and the joy that surrounds us now. So contentment is something that all of us must take into consideration if we want to arrive at a life of enoughness. To see that when we embrace enoughness, or contentment, it allows us to slow down. It allows you to smell the roses. It allows you to go back and take a second look. Just being content where you are. Now, a lot of the people read this to mean that, are you going to take away from me the capacity to be ambitious? No. You can be both content and being ambitious at the same time. You can agree and say to yourself, this is where I am at now. I'm not going to compromise. I'm not going to do anything untoward. I'm not going to do anything fraudulent because I want more. I'm going to trust and I'm going to believe while I'm content that when the day comes, God will move me. Does this mean that I am slothful and lazy? Not at all. It just means that I am grateful for where I'm at. I'm working on going to other places, but right now, this is what has been ordained for me, and I would enjoy it and make the best of it. Because every time a person is not content, they lose the capacity to even give their best where they are. Meanwhile, it is what we do where we are that gives us the leverage of where we want to go. So contentment is critical. It will help you slow down. It will help you savor the small moments around you. It will help you find happiness in the little things, in those seemingly inconsequential things. You will begin to recognize that it doesn't have to be earth-shattering to make meaning. That there are people who have all the money in the world. So their issue is not that they don't have enough. Their issue is they lack the capacity to enjoy that enough that they have. So when you step back and you say, I'm grateful and I'm content for where I'm at, oh my God, there's so much that can change for you if change is in the cards for you. As I think about this concept, I think about the account of David in the Bible when he was being pursued by Saul to take his life. David at this time had been anointed as king over Israel. But there was still a sitting king. The sitting king was King Saul. As a matter of fact, the moment David was anointed as king, the Spirit of God left Saul and an evil spirit took him over. So by all intents and purposes, Saul was no longer good for Israel. Saul was no longer good for Israel. And so it would make sense that Saul was taken out completely. But David was running away from Saul. And as David was running away from Saul, one day he found Saul asleep in the cave. Everybody that was around David rejoiced. They said to David, finally, God had given your enemy into your hands. Just go in there and slice off his head and you will become king. But the Bible said David went and he cut a piece of Saul's garment. And after David went away, the Bible said David repented of doing that. Because David recognized that he was seated at the back end of the desert and he was called to come and be king. To now kill the sitting king so that he can ascend the throne would be someone who didn't think that the oil on his head from God that made him king was enough to keep him until the time came when he became king. The concept of contentment. So even though he had the crown on his head and he was a fugitive, he said to the people that were around him eventually, he said, I will not do this wicked thing and touch the Lord's anointed. David allowed Saul's life to run its course. And at the end of Saul's life, he was brought in and he became king in Israel. That's what contentment does for you. Contentment gives you the capacity to wait and wait things out so that when eventually the tides will turn for you, no man can take the glory and no one can tell you that you compromised to get there. In the word, it is called helping God. How many times have you, because you want more, you feel like you are not enough, you've helped God? You need to learn contentment. I had to learn contentment in recognizing that if I desired a ton of money, maybe not even a ton, if I just wanted 100,000 and I couldn't afford 100,000, what I could afford was what I required in that time. Many years ago, we were praying as a family that the Lord should increase our earnings. As we're praying that the Lord should increase our earnings, God spoke to my heart and He said, no, what you need to do is justify how you spend what you already have before I can increase your earnings. That particular interaction with God or transaction with God opened my eyes to see that every time we say, or not every time, that most times when we say it's not enough, it might just be a problem of stewardship. What have you done? How content are you with what you have? And what have you done with it? To the extent that you get to where you now qualify for the more that you are asking for. That's a question that we all need to answer when you think about contentment. Ask yourself, am I content? Contentment is why you will say thank you for the things that you have received. Even though they are not what you want, they are not all that you want, you say thank you for them. Then the one who gave you the initial one knows that you are a good steward and will bring more to you. Contentment is how we ensure that we utilize what we have in the moment properly. So that when we now say we have room for more, we can justify how we had utilized and deployed what we had before. Contentment in the present. Are you content? Because unless you are content, it doesn't matter what I say here. You will not be able to find yourself in a place where you live a life of enoughness. And this is the life that we all need to look for how to live. Because people are dying before their times because they did not think that what they had was enough. I'm going to go on a break now. When I come back, I'm going to give you some steps to how to cultivate and practice contentment in the present. When I come back, we will look at that. Thank you so much for joining. Please don't go away. I'll be right back.
Are you seeking to clarify your purpose and profit from it? Then get into Purpose University this year. It's a 10-week e-course for people of faith who seek to clarify their purpose and profit from it. The DNA of purpose has been put together to help you understand what purpose is about and also help you discover what your journey of purpose looks like. Register today at yourpurposeu.org, where Bidemi Mark-Mordi would hold your hands so you can discover your purpose and live a more powerful life. In a world filled with many fears and discouragement, life often becomes a burden. For those who know the way, life is just simple. Do not worry, you're not alone on this life's journey, as Bidemi Mark-Mordi shares powerful insights and principles from her everyday work and life experiences in her book, Nevertheless. Nevertheless is a book designed to encourage and equip you to face life with courage, hope, and determination. Get a copy of Nevertheless and other books written by Bidemi Mark-Mordi, like The Wisdom of the Seed, Honor, The Theology of Work, and so much more from a bookstore nearby, or call 080-905-63555, or send an email to bidemi@bidemimarkmordi.com to place your order. I guarantee you will make it. Nevertheless.
Welcome back. It is still the Nevertheless show. It's the final episode in the series Enoughness, and we're looking at contentment and how it stabilizes us so that we can live a life of enoughness. I told us that pressures come when we are not content people before the break. To be able to practice contentment daily or in our present moments, we must be people who are truly present. Being present means having a presence of mind to be able to look around us and see that our cases are not the worst. Because every time we get ourselves under this pressure, it is because something begins to say to us that your case is terrible. But it's not true. There is not one of us who's not better than someone else. Not that we rejoice in being better than others, but your case is not as terrible as you think it is. A fortnight ago, someone pointed that to me. She said, "You are crying, but it could have been worse." And she painted me pictures of how these things could have been worse. And I'm grateful that she helped me gain perspective in that moment. Practice being present. Recognize that you can't live a life outside of your life, constantly looking here and there, and also be content at the same time. Contentment. To grow in contentment and cultivate contentment, we all must reflect, or you must reflect on what is valuable for you. Because sometimes the pressure is something that is not valuable for me. I was having a conversation early this morning, and in that conversation, I was talking to someone, and we were talking about the pressure to be in the limelight. And I had to reiterate to myself again that despite all these many things that I do, I really don't like the limelight. But sometimes because of the things I do, I find myself under pressure, wanting to just fight my way into the limelight. But really, does the limelight equate impact and effectiveness? Last time I checked, no. So I have to be content that this is what God has put me in for this season, in this moment, and not continue to want to grasp at everything that goes by. Because then, if that's how I do, I will not be able to determine what is valuable to me, which means that I will not be able to live in contentment. Because some of these things, they are great for some people, but are they great for you? So you must sit down and define for yourself, or reflect and ask yourself, what are the values that parameter my life? Number 3, to practice contentment, we must learn balance. No, not work-life balance, because I know that does not exist. I'm talking about balancing my life. To balance my life in such a way that I recognize that sometimes relationships may be happening may look like they take a slump, but my health takes an upward surge. To recognize that nothing is perfect all of the time. So sometimes I may suffer a slump in a certain area, but it doesn't mean that my entire life is a dump and a slump. So you must think about what balance looks like. What does balance look like for you? Because unless you define your own balance, you will not be able to move ahead and grow in contentment, which equals to you will not be able to live a life of enoughness. Then you must know that the choices you make should be your choices. Because every time I'm not content, I'm trying to make a decision that is not mine to make. Every time I've walked in a lack, in discontent, it is because something else is driving the process and not what I need for where I'm at. So we must come to the place where we empower ourselves by the choices that we make. Take the time to think through the choice you want to make and make the right choice. That way, you find that you are not being, you don't feel like you're playing catch up, because you own the decisions that you have made. To be content, you must cultivate joy. You must cultivate joy. The Bible talks about joy that is not easy, that cannot be understood. That means that it defies the things that happen. It is just joy. And it makes you Rejoice in the things that other people are crying over. One thing that I have grown in contentment in is how I see my nation, Nigeria. There are many things that are not right, but I also know that we're not the absolute worst. And I am convinced and convicted that we're headed somewhere. Because of that, I have learned to be grateful and grateful and grateful for this nation. I have learned to embrace and enjoy the freedom that I have in this nation. I'm content and I'm determined not to contribute to a further slump in what my nation is. That's the kind of thing that contentment brings your way. If you want to thrive in contentment, you must have your own specific definition of success. Because again, as I've grown, I've realized that success looks different to different people. Many years ago, God said to me that I should define my bottom line. I was going to use many parameters that the word says suggest success to define the parameters of success for me. But God drew me in and he said to me, for you, success, the bottom line is the people. So anything you are able to do to add value to people makes you a successful person. Since then, estates have not become the yardstick of my success. Money, piles of money in the bank have not been the yardstick of my success. And guess what? I'm not homeless and I'm not begging. Because within the parameters of what God has called me to do, because I'm content, He gives me, He provides for me within that parameter. If He does decide to increase the parameter, guess what will happen? Or extend the parameter, He will provide within that new parameter for me. Contentment is serious. And finally, you can be content when you know how impermanent life is. What does that mean? To recognize that everything will change when it is time for them to change. Absolutely everything will change when it is time for it to change. If you understand that life is not permanent and stagnant, that no matter how slow it is inching and life is moving forward, you would have no need to look at yourself and feel like you are not enough. I've come to the end of this series. I've talked to you about what enoughness is. I've tried to help you understand what it looks like. I've told you that the reason why we struggle with enoughness is comparison. And I have encouraged us not to fall in the trap of comparison. I've shown you that the antidote for all of this is gratitude. And that if you make gratitude a personal choice and a daily practice, it has a way of boosting your capacity to see through the lens that are right for you in the moment. And I've also just shared with you that contentment is a gift you can give yourself so that you live this life well, feeling like you are enough and all that you have is enough every single day. I want to thank you for keeping the faith with me every week. And I want to look forward to your feedback. I want to encourage you to share the links, share it with people, just share with your friends and have discussions around them. And even if you don't agree with something, it will be nice for you to share with me. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on social media, and do not forget, you are who you are on the core. There is a superpower you have and only you have. If you just pay attention to it, you'll find that your life is enough for every day and for every season. My name is Bidemi Mark-Mordi. This has been the Nevertheless Show, a show for organic leaders and leaderpreneurs. Next month, I'll come back, if Jesus tarries, and we'll explore another topic. Thank you for keeping the faith. God bless you, and bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nevertheless. For more information and resources, call 080-90563-555 or send an email to bidemi@bidemimark.com. Don't forget, discovering your purpose helps you live more powerfully.